Hi, this is Jason, your instructor. I've created a grade tracking worksheet so that you can track your progress for the rest of the course. Now, I will notice that this is in beta, but what this worksheet will allow you to do is allow you to see what your points in the class are, and also allow you to kind of project and kind of see what your final score could be based on what you think you're going to get in the next couple assignments. So let's kind of break it down and see how to use this. First, if you look up here to the instructions, zoom in on that for you. We got some 3 steps. So the first step here is to go to the homework grade tab in the worksheet. Now I renamed this, so I'll have to change this. But if you come down here under course grades, you click there. Now one thing to notice after you click here is that I already have some numbers in here for you, and here are all your reading assignments. Now, you may find that you can't click anywhere else. Now I've done this so that you can only enter data where it needs to be entered, so you won't mess up any of the calculations that are occurring. So let's look at reading quiz 4. So you should have completed this last week. Now if we put in a number, let's say you got 15 points, and hit enter, notice that the total points that assignment is worth will show up here in this column, right? And as we come down here, we can look at here, these are the number of points that you have gotten in that section. So for all the reading quizzes and activities, this is the number of points that you have, and this is the number of points that it is out of. And these are the number of remaining reading and question quizzes and activities that are remaining in the course. So you can kind of see you're going to get this all from Blackboard. You're going to enter this information. And we have it for the project milestones, we have it for the discussions, and we also have it for the final exam. So after you have filled in here everything that you need, you're going to go over to the grade overview. Now I will want to note to you that there are no zeros for some of these assignments. So for any assignment where you've not received a grade, don't put anything in there. We're going to play around with some stuff in a second, but for right now, leave it blank until you've actually received a grade. And notice you have some instructions over here that kind of specify that for you. So let's pop back over here and let's bring this out. Now that we have a description for each of the sections that I think are important to you. So let's look at section 1, the total points received in each category, and that's exactly what you'd think it would be. Here's the total points that you've gotten for reading, quizzes, and activities. These are the points you've gotten for your milestone achievements, these are the points you've gotten for the discussions, and these are the points you've gotten for your final exam. Now over here kind of tells you what the max points in each category are. And of course, everything in this course is out of 1,000 points. Here gives you a breakdown of total points received. So out of all these points, you have 300. These are the points that you've attempted. So out of the 360 points attempted, you have gotten 300 of them. And these are the points that are outstanding. So there's still 640 points outstanding in this scenario. All right. So let's move on to section 2. This is where you can project your final grade based on how many of the remaining points you think you will get in each category. So, for example, if you look here and say, well, I am going to ace every quiz and reading activity. And so let's say you're going 150 points. Now that'll pop there, and if you notice, things are kind of changing down here. We'll talk about this here in a second. Let's say for final milestones, you think, I'm going to get them all, but you accidentally put in too many. So let's say instead of 200, you put in 250. The sheet will tell you if the points in your projection are greater than the points that are remaining. So have a little red fill right there. So you just got to come back here and say, well, maybe I'm going to get 200. Now you may ask yourself, how can I estimate what I'm likely to get? Now, I've already done that for you. So what I've done is I have taken the average that you have gotten in each category. So in this case, for the total reading, quizzes, and activities. And I have found the percentage, and I have multiplied that percentage, or the proportion rather, by the total points remaining. And this gives you an estimate about if you keep doing what you're doing, this is the amount of points of the remaining points that you are expected to get. So in this scenario, I've done fairly well in the reading quizzes and activities. And of the 150 points left, I'm projected to get about 140 of them. Now, again, this is just an estimate. You can do better, you can do worse, but it kind of gives you a realistic ballpark of what you can expect. It's probably not realistic to expect to get it every point. You're probably going to lose a point here and there, and so this kind of gives you a realistic idea. Gives you something to better. Now, we kind of went past these, so these are the number of points that are remaining. So let me hit enter, right? And this will, all these columns here will automatically update based on the scores you've put into here. So it's really important that you get these numbers correct. And so how many points remaining, how many assignments for each category are remaining, and the average projection will automatically update every time you enter a score. So let's come down here to column 6, and we have some little rows here, columns 6A, B, and C. Now 6A, this one right here, notice how I can't select anything here. This is what you currently have in the course. So this is just simply the 300 divided by the 360, right? And you divide 300 by 360, and you're going to get 83.33, or B in the course. Now, I haven't filled in my projected grade, so let's go and do that. So let's say, well, you know, I think I'm going to get 150. My last milestone maybe wasn't so hot, so maybe I'm going to get 175 here. And then I'm going to get all the discussions, because I do pretty good in the discussions. And, you know, I'm not sure what I'm getting on the final exam, because I don't know what it's all about. But, you know, how about I just stick with the projection over here, right? And so this column here, or this row, 6B, that is what your projection suggests you could get. So based on these numbers that you've entered here, your final grade would be an 88.1, and you would have a B plus in the class. Now, this right here basically says, okay, this is, if you just keep doing what you're doing on your average, this is the grade that we can expect you to get. And you notice it's pretty close to what your current grade is, because again, we're looking at the averages across the different categories. Now, one note I will make is that each of these 3 categories are based on what you've done in the past. This category is an average of what you have in the course. Because obviously we only have one final exam, so it's hard to estimate what you'd get on that final exam. But this kind of gives you a ballpark. Typically, students who do better in these 3 sections will also do better on the final exam. Now one last section to look at is this section here. And what this is kind of allows you to kind of play around how many points do I need in the course in order to get a particular grade. Now, since this course is out of 1,000, it's kind of easy to calculate on your own. But let's say, for example, you are looking at getting a 94 in the class. This automatically, you enter it here, and this automatically tells you how many points you would need to get a 94 in the class. And so this can be kind of useful when you're making your projections up here about how do I get to this number? What do I need to do? Where do I need to spend a little extra time? So feel free to use this. I have it locked, so you can't make any changes. So the only things that you can change are your projection, what percentage you want in the class, and notice here that I'm not using a percentage sign or a decimal. I'm just using just the number, and you can enter in the points you've gotten for each assignment. And so these are the only things that you can enter. You can't even click anywhere else. So feel free to use this. It's a great tool. It's something a little extra than what Blackboard can give you, and may help you plan the next couple weeks.